Hey Derek, I know we ended today saying we can hold off on the serve stuff, but I wanted to go ahead and get some low-hanging fruit items for you that won't completely change the entire mechanics of your serve, but we can optimize a little bit kind of in preparation for the future. So we're not just stagnant if you wanted something to work on. So I pulled up two videos side by side. These are the ones I took on my phone, just ported over to the iPad so that I can use the software that I normally use on them. So on the right hand side is your serve, and then left hand side is the ball that you threw, where I just told you to, throw nice and high and see how you do. So I've kind of gotten to a similar setup position on both of these right now. So looking here, like hips are slightly into the court, shoulders slightly into the court. We load a little bit better on the throw. So here's the line for your hips. Here's the line for your shoulders. Um, Actually, I'll redo all of them. On this side, your hips and shoulders are pretty much at the same exact spot. Over here, your shoulders are rotated past your hips just a little bit. So, kind of in the same coordination as using the kinetic chain that we talked about, we want to build energy up slowly from the ground all the way up. So it's, everything rotating one piece at a time all the way up. And the photo on the left is set up to do that more because your shoulders are turned further back from your hips so that we can unwind the shoulders a little bit more. So if we're just looking at the orientation of the body, the one on the left, we have more of a coil backwards to stretch the body to unload more into the shot. Okay. I'm going to inch forward in both of these. So here, the right-hand side, when you're serving, as we move forward, everything kind of moves together in one piece. You see the body turning and the arm moving forward at the same time. The arm is pretty much taking the lead here, moving forward to hit the ball. I'm going to inch forward on the left-hand side. Now here, the body is turning and the hand is rotating backwards. So we're getting more of a stretch backwards. Right here, you see the elbow moving with the torso, but your hand isn't moving forward. Here, your hand is leading and pushing forward towards the ball. So you've studied the technique before. You obviously can do it when throwing, is that if we leave the hand backwards instead of pushing it forwards, this here is a pull effect on the arm and what essentially would be the racket. This is a pushing motion. So, in as a comparison, if we were to push like a hammer forward, we would never get much impact on a nail that we're trying to drive. But if we are swinging and pulling a hammer forward, we get much more leverage, and that's what we're looking for. And that's what you can do here on this the throw and not the serve. So here if we just zoom in on your hand a little bit, your hand here is pointing up towards the sky already. And then we talked a little bit about here, but here your hand is relaxing backwards so that we have more of a stretch. And if we just kind of point arrows out from where your palm is right now, your palm's kind of facing forward into the court here already. And this one is facing upwards a little bit. So we have a little bit more of a stretch that we can use. And if I were to just draw a racket out of your hand here, the racket dip is much lower than what you do here with your racket, where the tip of the racket is still well above your head the whole time, going this way instead of out this way. And the lower the racket goes, the more of an acceleration path we have up to the ball. Okay. We talked about the release. You do it. See if we can see more of it here and clear all these arrows. As we swing through this serve, actually, I'm going to go to your second one. This first one, I believe you shanked a little bit. So as we hit the ball here, strings are facing the box. And then here we can already see the racket's pointing a little bit out to the side. I go out further, racket's pointing out to the side here. You do this better on your throw as well. So here, throwing the ball. If you had a racket in your hand, it would be facing towards the box right now. And then as we keep inching forward, there's more of a release here. So your hand is like pointing way out to the right. Um, you pause it here a little bit. We're just throwing a ball, so not a big deal. But if you keep going, this is how we get the racket to face further and further out. I'm going to pull up a pro example real quick just so you can see side by side. Okay, we're back. So I have the video on the right of you throwing the ball. Um, And so there's a few things that you can optimize. Not going to change the motion a whole lot, but here's a couple of differences to point out. So this is the loading phase for a serve, which is essentially where you're at right here. Now, the big difference between what we're seeing here on the left-hand side, a pro example, versus what you do, is we have much more rotation backwards here in the body. So you have part of this already where your shoulders are wound back further than your hips are, but we don't see any portion of your chest. So, what I'd like you to work on for your serve is how far backwards can you rotate the body? So that we can at least get you facing sideways, if not, rotated back, and we can see the front of your chest here pointed a little bit back towards the court. This just allows us to use rotational energy to unwind everything into the serve here. Okay. So you do a bit of this already. You're just facing forward very much. So there's less storage of energy here in your serve. And then if I scoot forward here on this example, they're going to reach the same position here. As we're loading up, you're facing forward more into the court than the pro example here. It's very often we see everything kind of pointed sideways. Now, what you see here on the left, on you on the right hand side, is in baseball when we're pitching a ball, because it's a much more linear shot into the court, and you don't have to clear the net and have it hit the service box. The pro example, we have to direct energy upwards more to the side than directly into the court. So a little bit facing to the right makes a lot of sense. But for you, you'll need to rotate the body backwards more so that we can unwind it, and still kind of face over, probably to about where the net post is plenty. Right now, you haven't turned back very far, so we don't have as much to release. Okay. Let's see. Part two is I'd like you to see if you can get the racket to relax this far in your service motion. So the red arrow is kind of where the tip of the racket is. In the pros have ridiculous reflexibility. So for them, the racket, it's just really a turn of the hand and a different grip. So I don't want you to worry about that. They get this guy very often under waist level. It's something that I think you can do. It's going to require more changes, so I'm not worried about that now. For now, I'd like you to work on rotating back more so, relaxing your hand so that the racket comes down at least this way, so that you can rotate the racket up to hit the ball in a circular motion, similar to how they're doing here. So if the racket falls at least this far, if they come up and hit the ball here, this is still more than if the racket stuck on this side and you just swung up to the ball. It's going to give you more leverage to pull up into the ball, more acceleration path, more power. And with the use of the body turning, we talked a little about this on the throw already. With the use of the body leading instead of just your wrist hitting the ball with the racket, you should gain more control that way in conjunction with the toss location that we talked about. Okay. So, two things to work on in the serve. I'd like you to rotate backwards more in this prep phase so that you can unwind it going forward here. You do a good job of unwinding now. We just need more of a coil, and then relaxing your hand so that the racket come down a little bit, and then up here to hit the ball. Everything from there is exactly the same. We talked about the rhythm of the serve. This is going to change your rhythm just a little bit, because to swing from right here upwards and from right here upwards, it's going to take more time. This is a shorter swing path, and this is a longer swing path, just albeit a little bit, but it's going to take more time to get the racket all the way up to the contact point to hit the ball here. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions. We can definitely true this up the next time we get on court as well. But I wanted to get this in front of you so you had something to see. There's more to this as we go on later if you want to dive into it more, but it's going to kind of break your current service motion a whole lot when I start getting into grip changes, etc. So let me know what you think here. If you have any questions, definitely let me know. You don't have to wait. You can just text me or anything, give me a call, whatever works for you. Don't have to be on court to ask a question. So just let me know how I can help. Okay. Thanks, Derek.